I always said you should all be smart, but I don't know how could be smarter. We don't know anything about to improve intelligence, and I suppose we don't really know anything about to improve industriousness either. But I can tell you that people who are not industrious come up with a strategy for solving the problem that's ahead of them. If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say, yourself you got to be in this like you got to read this prayer, this no game, this. What's one thing I'm doing wrong? That no I'm doing wrong. Not a good face. Not a good face. You meditate that you will answer and each one won't be one you want, but it will be the necessary one. In this video, we will explore some of his best kept secrets for maximizing focus and achieving long-term success, so that you can study smarter, not harder. I don't tell people to fix the thing you repeat every day. People tend to think of those as trivial, right? You get up, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, you have your routines that you go through every day. Well, those probably constitute 50% of your life. And more thing where this Monday don't need to pay attention to them, that's exactly wrong. The thing you do every day, that's the most important thing you do. Hands down, or how to do is really arithmetic. We make an average of 35,000 decisions every single day. We can eventually be in to this literal decision between a state of mental overload that can impede ability to continue making decisions. As Becker is not least explained, the more decision you have, the more difficult you develop, and the more difficult it can become. This mental enhancement can lead to poor choices, procrastination, or even strategy to avoid decision together. One effective way to do decision fatigue is by simply failing daily routines, such as planning meals in advance, maintaining a consistent wardrobe, or establishing strong habits. Additionally, breaking down complex processes into smaller, measurable steps can make decision making feel less overwhelming, helping individuals conserve mental energy for more important tasks. I can tell you that people who are nurturers come up with a strategy for solving the problem that's ahead of them, and then the way where they can to stick the strategy. So, for example, you sat down today or tomorrow for a couple hours, 3 hours, and you feel a Google Calendar with where you happen to use with a strategy for studying, and then a list of when all your assessment are due and all of that, and when you are going to sit down and study, then you won't be in a position we have to cram for test hour a day hopelessly right before the important exam. It is also a very effective way of studying, by the way. I mean, first of all, people will cram for 10 hours, say they are studying for 10 hours, but really are because I can study for 10 hours. I don't have the powerful concentration that would enable me to do that for that period of time. I can measure about 3 hours of 10 test lecture activity before I'm ready done. I celebrate its wrong taste in human neuroscience, found that by learning where the sessions are spread out over time can be twice as effective as math learning. This approach enhances memory retention and recall by encoding memory information into long-term memory. Research consistently shows that students who spend out their sleeping perform better on assessment taken weeks later compared to those who cram. In addition to space learning, getting enough sleep plays a crucial role in learning and memory. According to the Sleep Foundation, sleep deprivation is not the brain ability to create new pathways for recently learned information, making it harder to retain knowledge. And also the case study, if you study and then sleep, and then study and then sleep, and then study and then sleep, you spay down, then you might be knowledge to remember. It is somewhat more likely to that, but more likely to remember if you try to recall the material and so highlighting that side of thing. It's a very useful way. Really closing the book, summarizing what you read without opening the book. That's useful. And the reason for that is you're practicing remembering. That's what you have to practice. You practicing your memorization, you have to practice remembering. You don't just go over the thing over and over. That will help you recognition and memory, but some it will help you recall memory. The best thing you can do is read and write every day. Couple hours every day. Read about things you find important and see if you can discover what you believe to be true. and build up your foundation, and it's unbelievably vertical. Research based by Jacksonville was that Brigham University explored how reading rhetoric fiction enhances our personality to understand others, a skill known as the theory of mind. This refers to the human capacity to recognize that others have beliefs and desires different from their own. In the study, participants were divided into groups and studied different reading materials. Afterward, they took a test measuring their ability to perceive other emotions. The results showed that those who read literary fiction scored significantly higher than those who did not read at all. So what seemed to happen in the stories is that they distill, they distill. So they watch people watch people, and then they tell story about what they see, but they leave a lot of the story, everything that's boring, hopefully. And then my story about exciting things get set up, I get it, and then maybe a great writer come along and write something really interesting. Profile character transformations, and then you say with that fiction, and then you say with that's not true, good fiction, but then maybe they're not right, maybe it's more than true. Because you want the truth. The truth is mundane reality. You already got as mastered. What you want is the distillation. Um, Interesting in measuring. And you might think what is interesting, but the answer is you don't know. That's the thing that's so cool. When you think about behavior, you tend to think about voluntary behavior, but a motivational style will. Doesn't have it active depending on the situation, autonomic response. Also, for example, when you food deprived and you start to think about food and start to organize your behavior towards food and then to pursue the world that way your body also will be prepared for food. And so if you want to think about the motivational style and the micro personality. According to an article from Condition Today titled The Scientific Truth Behind Fake It Till You Make It, mentoring memory and actual perception say common neural circuits, so they have different varying dynamics. This phenomenon is explained by Hess law. We state that neurons that fire together wire together. In other words, if you do something in association with something else, the two things will get interlinked at the neural level. This principle highlights the brain ability to strengthen neural connections through repetition and association. For example, if someone repeatedly visualizes himself speaking confidently in public, the brain starts to reinforce the same neural pathways used in actual public speaking, potentially improving the real-life performance. Even when you're just walking to where you want to go, if you're successfully walking, then your brain tracks what you're doing. The circuits are activated while you're doing it, and if you what you're doing resolve you desire, then the dopamine flows those little neurons are active and the make them grow and flourish. And so, as you practice something that's working, the circuit is activated as you're practicing is bath in dopamine, and that's make it stronger. That feels good. It's growth. It's part of positive motion. And so the positive motion move you forward, but also encourage you to develop a habit. That's practice. So one of the things I would really will say is don't make a habit of pursuing things that are going to be good for you, because you build that into that you what's happen if you become that something you build a little monster inside you. That goal isn't there. It's after one goal, despite everything else. Not a good outcome. In order to withstand suffering, let's say your life has to have some meaning. Okay, well, that's mean that a bunch of things will means that part of ways that overcome suffering is by making suffering as to some meaningful. And I don't really mean that metaphorically, I mean it metaphorically, you might understand. Because you're suffering, you do something about it, you don't need to mistake again. In a study on worship writing with 258 participants, Researchers found that those encouraged to embrace discomfort feel greater sense of achievement and more likely to recover, as receptionally enjoyed that daily life, compared to those who were simply subject to focus on the task. But saving negative experience and the celebration is particularly motivating when perseverance delay and discomfort is immediate. It's not like suffering and it's like one less something cut you wrong. Who care? It make you suffer. You care. So if you are our little scheme in the world, little action passion, you know what you want. If you special, if you choose you and you person to chase and cry. And why is that? Because you don't know what you want. You know where you don't know what you're doing. It's time for sending negative emotion and indicate that you're wrong. And that's terrible in some sense because story in that you learn through cause pain. Now I don't believe that exactly. That will make you cry. But if you get the rest just right, just opening up novelty so that you can benefit from the possibility and that give you the moment get fundamentally. You can benefit from the possibility without being overwhelmed by the unexpected element of this and you can tell when that's happening is one of the coolest if I'm concerned.